Hello everyone, it's WhisperAudios and welcome back to another monthly favourites video. This is November 2022 and can you believe how quickly this year has gone? Literally, I woke up one day and it was February and now it's November. We're nearly at the end of the year and so much has happened this year for me and it's been really crazy. So let's start with the elephant in the room. You may have noticed that I'm wearing these clip-on microphones. So these are wireless microphones and this is the first time I'm testing them out today, like doing a proper video and a trial run with them. So I'll take one off and I'll show them to you. So they look like this, and they are a wireless microphone by a company called Tonometer. And essentially they are like the Rode Go microphones. However, I purchased the Rode Go microphones about a year ago. Honestly, I really didn't get on with them. The white noise was just so bad for me personally, and I had to basically like process the audio super, just like to the nth degree to try and get at least something workable. I couldn't use it with my Fujifilm camera, nor could I link it up to my laptop for some reason. It just wouldn't work. So anyway, I returned the Rode Go, and then when I did my collab with my friend, I had like nothing usable or practical to do like in-person collabs with, and I was like, oh, I really need my Rode Go back, but I don't want to use it because it was so crap. So I looked online and I found this set on Amazon by Tonometer. Now what attracted me to it right away is that you can actually record natively on each of the recorders. So even if you're in the middle of nowhere, you haven't got your laptop, or you haven't got anything to plug into, you can actually record on here and download the footage directly from the device, which is amazing. It's amazing. I literally don't know any other device that records actually on the device itself. So I really like that. And also you've probably noticed that you can film in stereo mode. Stereo mode. Record in stereo mode. Which obviously is wonderful when you're doing like ASMR videos from ear to ear. But it also records in mono as well, which I won't switch to just in case I mess something up. But it's good for interviews. You can just clip one onto your partner and one onto yourself. But what I really want to use it for is sounds. So I'm going to do a little test now. Hopefully the stereo is in the right format. I hope this is your right and this is your left, but we shall see. Okay, so I've clipped one to my watch, one to my hairband, and I'm going to test them with sounds. Very close. Hopefully this works okay. So hopefully that was an okay test. I will find out when I get into the editing. But like I say, these are great. I really find them really easy to use. Not only can you record on the devices themselves, you also get two little lavalier mics. So if you need something a little bit closer here, a little bit less obvious, it comes with two of these lavalier mics, which is great. You also get every single wire imaginable for your smartphone, for Canon, Nikon cameras, and also there's a Fujifilm one as well. And you also get a wire, which I'm using right now in my computer, and I'm recording using Audacity. So I use the USB plug it into my computer, plug it into the transmitter, turn both of the microphones on and the transmitter, and I can use Audacity to record the sound. So pretty much how you would use Blue Yeti, or how I use my Blue Yeti. Alright, so let's go back to the start now, as we've kind of jumped ahead a couple to the favourite thing. So now we move on to my favourite song. Now this was a recommendation from one of you guys. I've been sharing a whole bunch of very unique music lately, and you'll remember from last month I shared a very, very interesting artist, and based off of that recommendation, the viewer got in touch with me and said, I think you would like this band. I think they're really up your street. So I checked them out, and you are 100% absolutely right. I absolutely love them, and I haven't stopped listening to them since you recommended them to me, so thank you very much. Now I'm going to absolutely butcher the pronunciation of this. I do apologise in advance, but the band is called Tinariwen, 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 and the song is called Sastanaquam. So it's Sastanaquam. Now, I won't play it for you because obviously copyright and all of that. This music is a really cool, funky, groovy type of music, but the band is actually from the Sahara Desert region of northern Mali, and it's considered a pioneer of desert blues, and it's like very guitar driven, and it combines Tuareg and African music with Western rock music. Thank you, Wikipedia. I really wouldn't have explained it quite so well. So it's music that you really, really get into. You really kind of like move along to it. The vocals are great. The guitar riffs are just so hypnotic, and they really get under your skin, and I just love it so much. So thank you so much for recommending that to me. I've been absolutely loving it. So now we move on to my favourite TV show / film, and this is a film I watched recently on Netflix, and it's one that I've had on my list for ages because I love all of the actors that are in it. I also love a little bit of history, as you know, kings and queens of England especially. So this film is called The King, and it stars Timothée Chalamet. That's not how you say his name, I'm sure. No one can pronounce his name right. Anyway, that guy, the young French guy, and Robert Pattinson, Joel Edgerton, and it follows the story of King Henry V, I believe, and his ascension to the throne after his paranoid father dies. he really doesn't want to be king at all. He just wants to spend his life drinking and partying. But of course, he has to be king after his brother, who was going to be king, dies. So he's like, well, I'm going to have to be king now. But he takes it all in his stride. And the first thing he does is goes to invade France. Because he thinks that they have kind of made an attempt on his life, and he's like, well, no, I can't stand for that, so I'm going to invade you and like take over France and blah 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 blah. So we kind of see him like go through a huge change of character, like become more warmongering and like tactical in warfare. And Joel Edgerton is like his right-hand man slash best friend that kind of guides him through all of it. And honestly, like, to be honest, it's like a really boring sort of concept if you're not into British history and British politics of like medieval times. Then it's going to be really boring, and it could technically be boring, but the way in which it's filmed, the way in which like everybody is so good in their roles, you're just sitting on the edge of your seat all the time because you're just wondering what's going to happen. The way in which it's edited is really great because it's not slow and draggy. It gets along quickly with the story, which I feel is essential with any sort of historical based fiction, well, fictionalized telling of a historical event. And the drama as well between these characters, like you have Henry V and his like right-hand man. You have kind of their building friendship over the years. Then you have all these like other characters that come in that try to like exploit him for their own gain, and everything is just done so superbly well. And it's really weird because Tilly Charmonet, he plays Henry V, which obviously is an English king, yet he's French, and Robert Pattinson plays the French Dauphin, the French prince, but he's English. So I thought that was really interesting how they kind of swapped. You know, you should have been playing like your respective nationalities. I don't know. But Robert Pattinson's French accent is brilliant. Like, it's over the top and a little bit hammy, but he absolutely kills it as the French prince. He was a delight to watch, as always. So that's my favourite film, The King, and you can watch that on Netflix. So now we move on to my favourite ASMR artist for this month, and you'll have seen me already share this particular ASMR artist on my community page, but literally 20 minutes before I started recording this video, I was listening to his videos in the background. I literally cannot get enough. I've not been this obsessed about an ASMR artist for a long, long time. And I think it's because I don't listen to ASMR by male ASMR artists all that much. I literally have a few male ASMR artists which are my kind of go-to. Only the ones that kind of have a more educational channel. I don't necessarily like male ASMR artists that do the role plays. I don't know if it's just me, but I find them quite uncomfortable to watch. I'd rather listen to a male ASMR artist like the French Whisperer talk to me about Atlantis or the solar system or something like that. And I think that's what it is about this particular ASMR artist, which I like. It's very factual, it has a very heavy medical undertone to it, and everything is done with the utmost professionalism, and I really love that. So the ASMR artist in question is called SRP ASMR.
This is the eye care tonometer. A rebound method way of checking your intraocular pressure. It's a lovely handheld device. There is no puff of air and no anaesthetic is required when using this machine. So you have your adjustable patient headrest there.
Alright, so that's video number 1, and this is video number 2.
Take you on a nice guided tour of the images there. External eye, lacrimal apparatus. So this is to do with production of your tears. There's a lacrimal gland there. That's the lacrimal ducts. That's there. This is releasing aqueous layer of the tear film.
So, I have literally been listening to those 2 particular videos on repeat every single day for the past few weeks, even to the point where I've been listening to it all day when I'm planning videos or what have you, cooking dinner, and then I'll be like, I need to listen to it to help me fall asleep as well. So it's literally been obsessive. But I think what it is that I see a lot of Alan Lee in his voice. Now, Alan Lee is the concept artist for Lord of the Rings, and if anyone has the DVD box sets and has watched the behind the scenes of Lord of the Rings, you'll know that Alan Lee has the world's most relaxing voice ever. He also has that kind of S, that drawn out S at the end of his sentences, and I find everything he speaks about so fascinating. Who knew that the eye could be so thoroughly interesting? I know eyes are quite complicated, but finding out all the different aspects of the eye, how you test your vision, what all those complicated words mean when you're having an eye test and have your prescription, it's amazing. So I feel like I'm being relaxed as well as educated at the same time. So please, please, please go and check out SRP ASMR. You will not be disappointed. So now we move on to my favourite cosmetic, and it's actually a hair care product, or actually products. I haven't bought them all here today because I really didn't want to bring them all to the studio. I've just bought 2. But it's a hair care product that goes against everything I said in my previous monthly favourites, where I shared with you the curly girl method, and I bought a whole bunch of Only Curls products to try out on my curly / wavy hair, because I have that texture naturally. So for a long while I really loved the curly girl method. It made my curls really lovely, and I could see that they were kind of getting back to their natural form without sort of over processing my hair and stuff. But I soon quickly realised that the curly girl method takes so long to do, and it got to the point where I was literally dreading washing my hair, because I would do the bowl method, I'd spend ages washing my hair, and then I would have to spend equally ages drying my hair, either diffusing it, which I think made it a bit frizzier, then letting it dry naturally. And for me, letting it dry naturally meant that my hair was out of action for a good 12 to 14 hours, because my hair's really, really thick and it dries really slowly. So I used up the Only Curls, and I thought, what do I buy next for my hair if I'm going to just ditch that method? So I bought a product or products called Moroccan Oil. Now this is touted as the holy grail of hair care. It's got argan oil in it. You basically can use it for all types of hair. It makes your hair really smooth, really silky. So I bought the shampoo, conditioner, mask, the leave-in conditioner, the texture spray, and the dry shampoo. Now, I've used this before. Oh, I also bought the little oil as well. So basically I bought like the whole hair care range. So I actually started to use Moroccan oil in my early 20s. At the time I was doing a lot of modelling, hair modelling, and all of the hairdressers used to use Moroccan oil. So I was encouraged to buy the shampoo and the conditioner and the treatment oil, which I did. And to be honest, my hair was the best it ever was when I was in my early 20s. So I have a deep love for Moroccan oil anyway, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to some really nice hair care and get my hair back to how I want it. So I've been using the shampoo and conditioner for about a month now, and I absolutely love it. Every time my mother-in-law comes over, she's like, "Oh, what's that gorgeous smell?" And I'm like, "It's my hair." This stuff smells so lovely. Like I can't describe it in mere words. It smells so fresh, sweet, like kind of like a smoky, woody, musky undertone to it. It just smells divine. And whenever you kind of flick your hair around, the smell is just so gorgeous. So I use the shampoo and the conditioner. I bought the treatment mask, but because the shampoo and conditioner is so nourishing, I hardly ever use the mask anymore because my hair just doesn't need it. All I do is use this leave-in conditioner on my ends just to make them a little less flyaway. And honestly, I found that I don't even need to use the treatment oil either, which is like a finishing oil you put on your hair for flyaways. Honestly, I don't even need to do that. My hair is so silky, so smooth, volumized. When I do my hair, like when I curl my hair, I use this texture spray, which really is so lovely. It really just like separates the hair and really defines your style, but holds it in place without that kind of hairspray, crunchy, kind of horrible texture. So this is really good and I really love it. And I also use the dry shampoo maybe on day 3 because it's so strange. My hair doesn't need to be washed when I'm using these products. Like I get to day 3, maybe day 4 and think, do I need to wash my hair? It doesn't really need to be washed, but we're on day 4 now and normally I would have washed my hair by now. So all I do is just use a bit of dry shampoo, the Moroccan Oil dry shampoo, and then I'm good for another day or 2. So literally I'm washing my hair once a week. It's insane. And I love these products. I literally, if I could afford it, I will definitely try to buy them all the time because yes, they are pricey. Yes, they're like the higher end of like hair products. But honestly, I think it's worth it, especially if you've got dry, damaged hair and you're looking to bring it back to life. Moroccan Oil is the way to go, I swear. So lastly, we come on to my favourite book. Now, I have begrudgingly chosen this book as my favourite book of this month because it's the only book I read this month. Normally, I would have read maybe 2 books, but I have not had time at all. Like, you'll see on my Patreon page my little update that I did. Basically, I've been juggling 2 jobs and trying to see family as well as other personal commitments that I had this month, and it's been just crazy. So I've had no time to read. However, the book that I have read this month is Kafka on the Shore by Murakami. Now, Murakami, he's such a hit and miss author for me. Like, I love him one minute, and then I'm like, oh, that's really weird the next minute. Like, if you've read any of his works, he is completely obsessed with over-sexualizing everything. Like, how gorgeous somebody's earlobes are, or will spend 12 pages describing somebody's boobs. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. It's cool. But do you really need this right now? And I feel like the other stuff that's kind of weird and wonderful in his books, you can forgive. It's not meant to be realistic necessarily. It's meant to be sort of fantasy, metaphysical kind of fiction. But the rest, it's very jarring. But the thing is that I can't stop reading. I can't stop reading his work. It's almost like it's like a drug that you know is bad for you, but you keep on taking it. I don't know, that's probably a terrible analogy. Kafka on the Shore follows a character called Kafka Tamura, who's a 15-year-old boy. He runs away from home because his father has prophesied that he's actually going to kill him and have some strange relationship with his mother and sister, who he doesn't know but will eventually... Yeah, it's weird. Actually, I'm not going to go in there because it's weird. So anyway, Kafka runs away from home. He ends up in this privately funded library, which essentially holds all the secrets to his life, where his mother and sister went because they ran away from home, and various strange things happened to him there. Meanwhile, we have a character called Nakata, who is an elderly man who's a little bit mentally challenged. He can speak to cats, and he can kind of see strange beings that aren't necessarily there. Now, he is my favourite character of the book. He is very, very lovable, very likeable, and he basically is the key to all the strange things that are going on in Kafka's life, even though, if I'm right in saying, they never actually meet in the book, which I find is really strange. But even though they don't meet, their two worlds and what's going on in them are kind of pulling each other together. And I think it's a really interesting way of writing, especially sort of going backwards and forwards between these two narratives. But honestly, I found the Kafka portions of the book a lot more challenging to read, and honestly I was just so thankful and relieved when we got back to Nakata's storyline, because it was just so much more fun. So although it's not my favourite book, it's still an interesting book to read, and it definitely makes you think. It's a definite Marmite book. You either love it or you don't, or you're like me where you kind of think, do I really like it or do I not? But it's an interesting read nevertheless. So that brings us to the end of November 2022's monthly favourites. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know if you've checked out any of these products, or again, if you have any music recommendations, book recommendations, ASMR artist recommendations, then please let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you